Hey, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. This is going to be episode 2 of building my React Native app. Firstly, just want to say thank you so much for all of the comments and support on the first video. I was not expecting any of it, so I really appreciate it. Please feel free to get in touch. I'm going to put my email in my channel, so if you have any questions or anything, just send them over. So this episode we're going to be diving into the back end of things. So we've got the main functionality set up in the app of saving the location, and that's the key thing to start with. I've also worked on some of the design and fleshed that out a bit, and also done the public facing website to start getting email signups and things like that. So in terms of the back end, I looked at a few different options. I looked at Firebase, AWS Amplify, and my own custom one as well. Reason for looking at the others was I'm going to be using some edge functions, possibly some speech-to-text transcription for one of the features. So AWS and Firebase and Supabase have those sort of options. However, I'm going to go with Supabase, or I have gone with Supabase, mainly because I know it. I'm doing this as part of nights and weekends now, which is a 6-week process. So I can get up and running nice and easy. I know my way around. And for this use case, it's kind of perfect, especially with the edge functions and stuff. So first things first, what we're going to need to do is figure out what data we're going to be saving into our database. And I always start this off with my notebook. And the reason for doing that is you can just freeform your ideas. You've not got any technical constraints. You don't have to worry about what tech you're using. You can get your ideas out and play with them. And it helps with the creativity. You're not worrying too much about, oh no, but I can't do that because of this. It really helps just get the bare bones of it out, nice and quick. Okay, so I've gone through and written my ideas down in my notebook. As I said, I think it's great to do that first without the technical constraints. Then you can go into your system and figure out what exactly will work and won't work. The way I like to figure out what data we're going to be saving is kind of go through the user flow, figure out, the user's got a login, they've got to create an account, so we're going to need a user table. Supabase does provide a private user table and auth system straight off the bat, which is handy. But then when the user's in, they're going to be saving locations. So we're going to have a location table to save the user's locations. We're also going to have a thing like the collections. So users can create a collection of different locations. And we can sort of start to figure out how we're going to link all of these things together. So what I'm going to do now is jump on to the iPad actually, I can record the screen and walk through what my process is. I guess it might be handy. If not, no worries. But then we're going to go through and show how it all links together. Yeah, so let's do it. Okay, so I've recorded this about 22 times because I don't think I'm explaining it very well. So what I'm going to do is just go through my whole thought process. It could be boring, it could be completely wrong, but it's probably the best way to do it. So when we make a Supabase project, it creates this private schema for us, which is read-only. When you use the Supabase authentication, a user signs up and it goes, their data gets saved in this table. So that is this auth table. So this is a private table that we don't directly interact with. So what I always do from a starting process, and they actually have a really good user management starter kind of template. If you go to the SQL editor, you can run a few commands and it creates these profiles tables, user tables for you. But what I do is create a profile table. Spelling things right. A profile table. And what this profile table will have is an ID to help identify the profile. a user ID, and then things like a username, a profile picture, and all the rest of it. So this table has a few different things. It's going to have a primary key, and this allows us to ensure that each row and entry within a table is unique and can be uniquely identified. It's also going to have a thing called a foreign key, and the foreign key allows us to establish a link to other tables. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this foreign key, which will be the user ID, to link to that auth table that supabase generates. And what we can do is we can set a few different things. So we could set this to cascade. So when a user deletes their account, this user ID, when it's deleted, will delete everything else it's connected to. So super handy thing to have, and it's good that supabase provides this sort of protected table that we're not directly editing. Means that less things will go wrong if a user's just playing about with their account, or things happen. So a few other things I'm gonna decided to have is obviously a location table, and what this table will be, it will again have an ID to allow us to identify each location within the table. What else are we going to have? We're going to have things like a timestamp for when it's created. We're going to have that user ID again. And then things like all of the location data, name, and then, loads more different things. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to use this user ID to create a link between this table and the profile table. So that'll allow us to show that when a user's created a location, their location is saved within this table. And it'll help us to identify that that location is for that user. Again, just creating that link is the best way to think of it. And then we're also going to have a collections table, and this collections table will be for saving a group of locations, if it's restaurants or picnics, hiking, things like that. And we are going to have, again, it's probably going to get a bit boring, but an ID, a user ID, believe it or not, name for the collection, and then things like tags. And what we're going to do is we're going to use, believe it or not, this user ID to link back to our profile, to allow us to show that a collection belongs to a specific user profile. What I have also done, which is I may change, but part of my process was creating a collection location table, which will have a location ID, location ID, and a collection ID. Now, what this will do, I'm hoping, is connect the collections and the locations. Also, apologies for my terrible drawing skills, but here we are. So what this will do was link the ID from the location and the ID from the collection, and it'll help us output the different locations within the collections. I'm also going to create a tags table, which is going to, again, save all of the user tags. These will be things like if it's specific locations, if it's a restaurant, hike, things like that again. So this is how I roughly think about all the different things I'm going to be adding to my database schema. I will now show you in Supabase's visual schema how I've actually connected all of those things and how it looks. It'll give you a better understanding and a much tidier understanding than my horrendous drawing skills of how it's all going to be put together. So yeah, I hope that makes sense, and I hope that gives a bit of an idea of how we're linking tables and how I'm going to implement this for my app anyway. Cool. Okay, so we've now figured out what different tables we're going to have. Now what I've done is I've actually gone in and created all of the different tables. So one really great thing about Supabase is that you can go in and you've got your table editor. So these are the different tables we've got. And this is what a table looks like without any data. But once we've created our tables, we can go down to databases and schema visualizer. And this shows us our tables and how they're all connected. So you can see here the primary key, the identity, if it's unique, if it's nullable or non-nullable. So what I've gone and done is, this is the profiles. So we've got profile ID, we've got the user ID, username, profile picture URL, which will link to a storage location within Supabase. Created at and updated at, and they just allow us to know when they were last updated or created. This little thing here is the private schema that Supabase creates for their authentication. So we can see that the user ID links to the auth user's ID in that table. We've then got our location. So when a location is saved, this is all the data that will be saved. The location object is actually the object that's created through the Expo location library when we click save on the application. So we can see that the user profile links to a location. A location can be connected to a collection. And I've also created a few extras that I didn't talk about. So again, the tags are connected to a location, so location types can have different tags. But I've split these up and I'm still figuring out how I'm going to do it. So we've got a location tag here, which will, as it sounds even, is a tag for a specific location. But then I've also created this collection location table. And what that's going to allow us to do is to link the locations and the collections. And I've also separated out the collection tags. So we have location tags and collection tags. It's a bit spidery at the moment, and I think I'm going to change a few things out because it's definitely not as clean as it could be. But for now, just whilst I get going, it's going to allow me to save data, create users, create locations, collections, and tags. It will change, no doubt about it, and there's probably a cleaner way to do it. So again, this is by no means the best way to do it. It's just the way I'm doing it at the moment. So yeah, that's it. I think what I'm going to do now is jump into how I connect Supabase and the application. They make it super easy to do, which is great. So yeah, we'll go from there. That's handy to know. Didn't know that. Let's copy and pasty that. Cool. Yeah, so we're going to have to do So I've just implemented the sign up and sign in. Let's have a look at this. And I forgot my password, so let's so there we go, we got sent the email verification. So I have integrated this with resend, so this is pretty cool. We just confirm. At the moment it doesn't go anywhere because I've not set up the redirect URL, but when we go back to the simulator, go sign in, and it redirects us to our home page, and we can save the spot and do all of that stuff that we did before. So that is where I'm currently at. I'm gonna probably call it here soon, just because it's been a bit more of a faff than I wanted it to be. I accidentally set up some triggers on my public supabase profile, and it just wasn't allowing sign up. So it took a bit longer than before because I'd not run into that issue. I will go through it at some point, I'm sure. Okay. Oh shit.
Don't worry about that. Are you recording that?
Yeah. Oops. Sorry, little plant. I think that was already dead.
To be fair, Grace said she didn't know what was going on.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Cool. So last night, I got Supabase linked up and everything working, all the login and everything working. Just the core functionality. It is not pretty, but it works. I stupidly added a trigger to the private auth table. Wasn't stupidly, but I did it. I mucked up the SQL query essentially. So what that meant was, when we were trying to authenticate, what it's meant to do is to automatically insert a new row into our profiles table, which would allow us to make that connection between the private table and the user profile. I ended up just removing that and got it working again. I'm going to revisit that trigger to make sure the authentication is working and everything. But in terms of Supabase, everything else is linked. And then we can start cracking on now with the core functionality of saving the locations, saving that into a database, and going from there. So I'm gonna just quickly show how Supabase is linked, and then that'll be the end of this video. And for the next video, we will be continuing, plodding on, and it'll be a bit more fun, a mixture of front end and back end. So yeah, let's go. Cool, so we are back in the Spots app. I basically just wanted to go over quickly how Supabase works. They provide everything that you need, which is super handy. But what we do is we create ignore this one, this is for edge functions, but we create a utils folder, and we have Supabase, and this is all ready to go for you, and it works the same as the Supabase. It works the same as the API docs they create for you, which is great. So if you come into your project, you have your API documents, and it automatically creates all of this for you. So the authentication, user management, so it shows you what you need to use for the, say, sign up, different logins, has different tables, and how to interact with them, which is cool. And then when you come to the home, you click connect, and then you've got all of your different your different frameworks, which is pretty handy. So yeah, so you create this utils folder, and then you import your client that you made in your utils folder, and also when you connect it, you download the supabase package as well, so you can import things from that. In my component, I created an auth folder, and I've got our account, which shows the account, but this is the auth. Move my head. This is the authentication, basically, and this is all provided. You'll have to tweak a few things, and I will separate the sign up with email and the sign in with email. I like to separate these out into two different components and then to render them as and when, because at the moment it's got two buttons, sign in, sign up, above each other, and I think user experience wise it's not great. I like to separate them out and have them on different routes. But yeah, this is it. Basically, nice and straightforward. It's quick and easy as long as you don't do what I did and set up things that you shouldn't. But yeah, that's it. I think from there we're going to go for next week, which will probably be this week as well. Some more of the core functionality, getting the UI in place, and getting it to a point where we can actually use the app out and about, which would be cool. So yeah, again, thanks for watching. If you want to know anything else about supabase or whatever, I'm not an expert, but I'm more than happy to chat to you. I also have a few things surrounding tutorials and my view on that. Not that I will be doing tutorials, I don't think, but I think I'll do a separate video on that because I think it'll be an interesting one. Yeah, thank you very much. Catch you next time. Don't look at me, I just put my phone in the fridge.